So, well, thank you everybody coming to see and hear what I'm going to say. This is Takeshi Hayatsu. I set up my own company called Hayatsu Architects end of 2016 and beginning of 2017. So, based in London, Bermondsey, which is the south part of London. Today's lecture titled Myths, Dreams, and Fairy Tales. This is about my own personal journey, where I got to, and also the sort of my personal fascination about the nature and the man-made, the things that people make, and how that informs the community and the placemaking. So after studying architecture in Tokyo, I moved to London in 1993 to study my master in the Architecture Association in London. This is young me. Let me try. Yeah. And in this AA library in Bedford Square, you may notice that there is no sight of a laptop, which tells how long ago it is. I came to London primarily to study at AA because when I studied in architecture in Tokyo, I was so fascinated by the UK architecture scene and movement, especially sort of the earlier one that Archigram was really influential of my work, and also the high-tech movement, and the later one was the future systems. When I was in Japan, I wasn't actually interested in at all in Japanese architecture, and but slowly, as I was away from my own country, I more and more attracted to, and I wanted to learn about it more. So every time I go back to Japan, I try to, at least once a year, I try to see as many buildings as possible, especially old shrines and temples. And this is one of the highlights of those visits. This is called Nageiredo in Sanbutsuji Temple in Tottori Prefecture. It's old shrine is built during the Heian period, which is 704 to 1184. And there's the Buddhist sect called the Shingon Mikkyo. Shingon Mikkyo combines the old Shintoism, Taoism, shamanism, and Japanese folk animism. This temple is built in the cliff, so typologically it's a half cave dwelling and a half kengai zukuri, which in Japanese means that timber lattice construction, which projects out from the vertical sort of cliff like this. And there's a myth that the monks used their superpower to build this offsite on the ground and then throw the whole building into the hole. That's actually the name suggests, Nageiredo. Nageire means throwing things in. It's mind-boggling to think how they build it in such a sort of a remote location. But the length of the stilts and how it's attached to the cliff suggests some sort of improvisations on site. And to me, this is architecture that measuring the nature. It's a sort of length of the stilts is revealing the natural contour, the formation of the rock. And when you go inside, this opening frames towards the body. So it's enhancing this sort of the location and the quality of the place. So it's a kind of a happy marriage of man-made and nature. It is a part of this larger monastery complex, and it takes about 2 hours to get there by foot. You need to climb up really steep cliff. Every year, actually, people die from them falling off, literally. It's quite dangerous. The place is already very special. The building actually came after. And they are there to really frame the nature and amplify the special quality. And the place is full of mysterious things, like this old tree raised around with this rope. It's called shimenawa, which is a straw, the rope that symbolizes the purification. And lots of enigmatic stone statues. The roadside statues called jizo is everywhere in Japan, even in the urban environment. And small shrine of the roadside god like this is kept, even the surrounding condition has changed. And people look after them. You can see this little suite that placed in front of the statue. And Japanese folklore depicts many monsters on the roadside. It is a kind of mountain spirit that the people had encountered during the nighttime. Japanese animation film My Neighbor Totoro by Hayao Miyazaki in 1988 also describes this story of 2 young sisters' encounters with mythical creatures. And this sort of fairy tale story overlaid with this familiar landscape of roadside statues and temples. And how the character behave towards them. So here, the 2 sisters praying to the jizo, the statue, to stop raining so they can go home. And paying respect to the nature. So you can see the rope, shimena rope, is raised around this big tree where Totoro lives. In Japan, it's quite easy to actually spot where the shrines are. Shrines are everywhere in even small towns. And what you need to look for is this sort of dense, mature trees. And the compound is protected by this gate. It's called torii. And preserving this sort of oasis for natural habitat like insects, birds, and animals. And this small red shrine is guarding this ginkgo tree from the pressure of urban development. And I think this is a very useful way of protecting nature. And architecture plays a very important role in this setting. And making this spirituality of the place visible and guarding the nature and environment. And tree has a special position in Japanese rituals. This is onbashira from Suwa Taisha Shrine in Nagano Prefecture. A symbolic standing pole for this ancient shrine. By custom, the onbashira are replaced every 6 years in the year of the monkey and the tiger in the Chinese zodiac. In Suwa Shrine, this occurs during the onbashira festival, which also functions as a symbolic renewal of the shrine's buildings. And during the festival, 16 specially chosen fir trees are felled and then transported down the mountain, where they are then erected at the 4 corners of each shrine every 6 years. This is called Yamadashi, literally means coming out of the mountain. 16 fir trees, usually about 17 to 90 meters tall, are selected and cut down in the kind of Shinto ceremony using specially made axe and adze. Then logs are decorated in the red and white, the traditional color of Shinto ceremonies, and ropes are attached. During the Yamadashi, teams of people drag the logs down the mountain towards the shrine, and the course of the logs goes over a rough terrain. And at certain points, logs must be skidded or dropped down steep slopes, and young men ride on it. And then people actually die from this. It's a really dangerous festival. Health and safety goes out of the window. But yeah, that's how they take this sort of festival so seriously. The logs weighs as much as 12 tons. And this special moment is called Kyotoshi, which literally means tree falling. This is the next phase of the festival called the Satobiki. During the Satobiki, held about a month later, the logs are paraded to the 4 shrines. There's 4 shrines in Suwa Taisha shrine. And then they all are erected at the 4 corners of each shrine. Logs are raised with ropes by hand, and while they are being raised, a ceremonial group of log bearers ride the logs and sing and perform other feats. Another example, this is Ise Grand Shrine in Mie Prefecture. And famously, this shrine buildings are rebuilt every 20 years. This is called Okihiki Festival, and it's held in the spring over 2 consecutive years and involves people from surrounding towns dragging huge wooden logs through the streets of Ise to the shrine. A year after the completion of the Okihiki Festival, carpenters begin preparing the wood for its eventual use of the shrine. This is called Shinbashira Oiya, a small hut protecting the position of circled wooden post before the rebuilding starts. And that's the diagram. So you can see the location of a new building replacing the old one in 20 years cycle. So effectively, this building, the shrine building, is an elaborated version of the little hut, the protecting the symbolic tree inside. So these standing wooden poles are the same as the Neolithic standing stones. So you can see these monuments all over the world. They are reaching out to the god in the sky. This is Callanish standing stones in Scotland. And this is another ancient example, the Izumo Shrine in Shimane Prefecture. This shrine boasts the Japanese largest shimenawa. So there's no knowledge of exactly when Izumo Taisha was built, but the record compiled around 950 describes the shrine at the highest building, reaching approximately 48 meters. And this building also contained the symbolic Shinnomibashira post in its center. So that's that red one. It's not actually structural, that stops just before the roof ridge. And this is the model of the reconstruction of the ancient shrine. And the archaeological survey conducted during 2000 proved that the myth was actually true. They discovered the remaining of the massive columns. So how they build it is 3 huge tree trunks are bundled together to form one big column. Because Japanese carpentry is closely linked to Shintoism and animism, the rituals of respecting wood are exercised to the present day. So they, here the Miyadaiku carpenter, Tsunekazu Nishioka, exercising the Shinto ritual ceremony. During the construction of temple, the carpenters pray for 3 times. Start of the construction, erecting the first column, and topping out. And they use this special axe. One side is marked with 3 lines, symbolizing the god's drink, sake. And then another side is marked with 4 lines, symbolizing sun, soil, water, and air, the essential elements for growing trees. So they use this axe when they fell trees in order to pay their utmost respect. I think this closeness to the nature at the very spiritual level seems to be very important and relevant for the 21st century, where we are at the age of environmental crisis and also scarcity of resources. So I started teaching architecture in 2010 when I got a position at the Kingston University in London. I thought about what I can teach, and I thought about maybe I can teach about Japanese architecture and learn about it together with students. Another thing I thought about was I wanted to use the university workshop as a classroom to build something together, fairly substantial. The universities in UK are well equipped with workshop facilities, so students have access to work with woodwork, metalwork, and also the other materials such as plaster. And this is the Kingston workshop. And yeah, I thought it would be really interesting to incorporate the workshop and build large structures. And this was partly driven the sort of trend that students tend to work off internet and everything is image driven. I wanted the learning to be physical. So the first thing we did was to build this replica of a wooden bridge. This is a 16th century wooden bridge. It's called Kintai-kyo Bridge in Iwakuni in Yamaguchi Prefecture. We built it in 1:3 scale using only 2x2 and 2x3 softwood. And spanning over 10 meters over the Hogsmeade River, which is running behind the university. It allowed us 22 of us, I think at the time. This was a whole entire studio. We'd be able to walk across and then stand on it. We continued this approach of studying Japanese historic wooden structures closely by building the large-scale replica in the workshop. So we built this 1:4 scale replica of Todaiji Nandaimon in Nara Prefecture. Again, only using 2x2 and 2x3 softwood. We got really generously donated by Scottish sawmill, who are growing their own spruce in their forest. The original structure is a 12th century timber gate, and this is also quite massive, 27 meters tall, which we replicate with over 3,000 wooden blocks. And that supports the cantilevered brackets to hold the roof structure. And this was about not only about learning the traditional Japanese carpentry, but also about the collaboration, about building something together and learning about teamwork and project management, including health and safety and fundraising. Kingston Borough is a suburb of London, and that's where the university is situated. And the area underwent rapid change from about 1910 to 1930. There's a wave of urban sprawl. So place like this need some sort of identity, I guess. Yeah, sort of need to feel the history. So through the work in the Kingston University, I met this man called Robin Hutchinson. He's a leader of the Community Brain, which is a charity company who promotes the and also empower the local community. He believes that everyone is brilliant and everyone need the place to be brilliant. And he really understands the importance of history for people's identity. And he really extracts very obscure stories and histories from the area. For example, there was a pub called Toby Jag in Tolworth, which is part of the Kingston. That's where David Bowie played first his gig on Ziggy Stardust in 1972, and he celebrated that fact with creating the event relating to that. And he also creates history where it doesn't exist. He wrote a children's book called The Legend of Leify Gunderson, the goat boy of Mount Seething. And every spring in Surbiton, another suburban town in Kingston, the community get together and march for the goat boy Leify to celebrate Leify saving the village by defeating the giant Thomas Deaton. So we proposed to Robin to join the festival with a mobile festival float. We call it Surbiton Yatai. This was in 2018. It was part of the university semester's investigation about Japanese festivals and float structures. In Japan, this kind of large wheeled festival float is everywhere. And they are usually stored in the local shrines or temples. And it is assembled before the festival, and some are so large and reaching almost an architectural scale. And it acts as a means to gather the community together and transform the place during the festival. So this is a 27-meter tall spire-like structure in Gion Matsuri Festival in Kyoto. And they are raised slowly by hundreds of people pulling the rope during the festival preparation. So really the construction of the float, the festival float itself, become a performance. So similar to this, our flat pack structure was assembled before the festival start. And this structure was inspired by the Kiku Andon Matsuri Festival in Kanagawa Prefecture. Instead of a red paper lantern of originals, we used the recycled milk bottles. It's a sort of transparent hanging basket for the plants and seed. So it acts as a seed bank, mobile seed bank. We managed to collect hundreds of them from the university canteen. And this way we learned technique from the DIY allotment gardens nearby. And during the festival, plants and seeds were given away to the people. So it was encouraging the people to grow their own flowers and vegetables. And also it was a symbolic structure that was pulled by the local children. So our collaboration with my Kingston students and the community brain are growing and continuing more kind of stronger. This is the latest iteration that we installment we did for the Tolwas Nature Reserve. We designed and built this straw bale nature hide. It is perched on the edge of the pond and in the council-managed nature reserve. And this diagram shows the idea of a core design and core building process in the academic environment. So instead of compressing this conception of design to the completion of the building work in 1 year, we try to spread across 2 or 3 years so that the idea is to pass the project to the next generation. And then while 1 year the next cohort is building, the new cohort is also creating the project and creating the brief. So this is the idea of the students also be able to work with the real stakeholders and local communities. So the first we held a design competition within our unit, and every student proposed their own design proposal, and this was conception stage, and then so effectively building the brief with the stakeholders. So it was judged by the member of Community Brain, Georgia Neesham, and also the biodiversity officer from Kingston Council, Elliot Newton. And then we collectively selected one scheme and then further developed with tutors and students. This Beardman is Jim Reed, who was my co-tutor at the time, and then prefabricated in the university workshop, so before brought to the site. And the structure was then erected on-site with the next cohort of students. We are interested in the idea of collective making, and we got involved the local school children with the help of Community Brain to decorate the external cladding. So we we held this workshop in the school's assembly hall, and this is the idea of using the natural pigment paint, which was also made by students, the mix of the locally dug clay mixed with flour and linseed oil. And then student made a template stencil to print all the kind of nature motifs on the timber, and produced large quantity of decorated cladding boards. So yeah, these are the students. So these kind of self-building approaches that we've been experimenting at the Kingston University has this quite direct influence on this urban regeneration, market regeneration project in Bermondsey in South London. It's called the Blue Market. This is the main topic of today's talk. It is a refurbishment of existing marketplace and associated urban realm improvement. We were commissioned by Sazak Council through a competitive interviewing process, and this was the before we got involved. The marketplace, it was basically a sea of concrete pavers and concrete bollards. The place felt really cold and unwelcoming. The marketplace was built in 1970s as part of the post-war clearance of the area. But originally, the market was on the street. This is the Sazak Park Road. It's quite a historic street that dating back to 12th century. So there was an abbey, it's called Bermondsey Abbey, and this route was the pilgrimage route, and the market was evolved from that. And also the proximity to the Surrey dock, where all the goods were exported and imported to London, was very near to this place. So in the heyday, it was over 200 stalls lined up the street, and they called London's larder. So you can buy anything from this market. But dock closed, and all the industry moved out from the area, and then the market slowly declined, and by 2019, only one trader was trading. That was the fishmonger, Russell Dryden. He was born in the brew, and he grew up in the brew, and he's been trading as fishmonger for his life. So he brought all the local business partners together to raise the fund and to upgrade the market. And they were granted £2 million from the Good Growth Fund from Mayor of London. We are appointed as a main designer of the multidisciplinary team, comprising cost consultant Greece, retail specialist, retail revival, lighting specialist Studio Decca, landscape architect Jonathan Cook, graphic designer Stinson Squeeze, and art and architecture collective Assemble. We title our project Made in Bermondsey. Pushing this idea of local production to work with the local industry and manufacturers, including ourselves. We are based in Bermondsey, so let me try this. So the blue is that triangular highlighted one, and we are based in this place called Sugar House Studios. The Sugar House is a maker's space set up by Assemble, and I have my office space within the same building. So was the graphic designer, the Stinson Squeeze. It occupies an old building, used to be a swimming pool and the music studio. And there are many makers, the joiners, carpenters, metal workers, ceramists, artists, share in the same building. So we often work together. It's a brilliant setting, that the ingenuity of Assemble, really. So the making and designing is so close together, and the collaboration happens quite organically. We set up the project office on site. There was a vacant shop unit, and took over the unit that belongs to the Southwark Council, and then placed a large-scale working model, as well as the venue for the series of workshops that are organized by the community. The project scope was quite multifaceted, so including this sort of a graphic identity. So this was designed by the Stinson Squeeze, the graphic designer. The logo is used in various locations, such as this kind of a signage placed on top of the lift shaft, which is the tallest structure around the area. The typeface is quite bespoke. It's a combination of Trajan and Futura. It's a sort of a old font mixed with modern font in a kind of subtle way. And the logo is hand-painted on various locations strategically, so acts as a wayfinding, and also applied to the metal cycle barriers to act as a sort of a gate to enter into the market. And metalwork is all done by the metal worker based in the Sugar House called Jump Studio. There was this existing wrought iron lion statue standing in front of the marketplace. And we originally proposed to relocate it that we wanted to have a much more sort of presence to our new interventions. But also, we saw this lion statue was rather ugly. So we proposed, okay, so we're going to put our drinking fountain to the front. That's the Sasaka Park Road, and that's the market. And then put the lions on top of this roof terrace. Well, the locals got really furious and shouted at us, "You can't move our lions." So the funny thing about this is that no one cared about the lion before we proposed it. But now they got really campaign against us. So yeah, we quickly withdraw our proposal. Okay, yeah, we keep the lion there. But it's interesting that it also gave us a new idea. Why don't we then use the lion as their identity? So this is the Barmanji coat of arms, which comprising the lions and crown, ship, and letter B. And we ask the people to draw their own lions based on the coat of arms, because each drawing is unique. And we set up a gazebo in the market and ask and invite the people to draw their own lions. And also extended that, we also ask them to make the lion. This is the idea of through this sort of making, we can also talk about the history of the place. So this craft technique is called ruposi. It's an etching technique using the hammer and the chisel, and then push and pull. We make this sort of three-dimensional relief onto the metal sheet. It's a fairly easy craft technique everyone can do, but it takes a bit of time. It's about sort of 15 to half an hour, 15 minutes to 30 minutes to finish the one sort of small plate. But it's long enough to chat about place and the history. So the name blue originates the kind of religious origin. There is a pub called Blue Anchor, and it's relating to the anchorite, who was the counselor of the pilgrims. And the blue was the sacred color for them. And so we looked at these religious symbols associated with British English market towns. This is the typology. It's called market cross. It is a kind of standing stone located in the center of the market town or marketplace. And it's a sort of it's representing the official site for the medieval town or village market, which was granted by charter. And it also representing the traditional religious marking at the sort of a crossroad. So the design of it is quite varies from very simple obelisk to more elaborated structure. But it always functions as a center of the market where people meet. This is the market cross in Chichester, which incorporates a clock at the top. This one is North Welsham. It's quite cute. It looks like a UFO. This is the old picture of a biscuit factory, which is nearby. It's a really large factory that doesn't exist anymore. There's a clock tower there. Yeah, that was the tallest structure around the area. We proposed to build a new market cross for the brew, and with the 4 clock faces on top. It positioned in the center of the market and create an anchor point as a landmark. The people first didn't believe it is necessary, and they say it's a waste of money. So we built this one-to-one mock-up using the scaffolding poles to test the idea, also to test the new layout of the market. And with the council's help, we held this event, invited this group called Castellars of London, who makes human towers. And it is a Catalan tradition that dating back almost 200 years or so. And we were competing who built the tower first here. It was a really pivotal point for our project that somehow managed to convince the people that this is actually a positive thing. It makes a change to the place. So the tower is clad in the metal discs like fish scale. And the discs are made from the lid of tin cans and manufactured by the local container factory called Williams Hay. It is not so well known, but Bermondsey was the world's first place to manufacture tin cans. And the tin can was evolutionary invention at the time. The tin is a chemical element that used for the corrosion-resistant coating of the steel, and it's also quite low toxicity, so it's really suitable for food preservation and the packaging. So this family-run company still operates and then produce this kind of a pretty really decorated tin cans using their own machines, embossing machines, and that's their factory. We wanted to decorate the discs with our own lions using this Rupossi technique. So we set up a gazebo again in the market during the construction. And we did this every Saturday for about 3 months, slowly accumulating the numbers. And sometimes it was busy, sometimes it was quiet, like the market goes. But slowly and surely we collected the large numbers. And this making is in some way very universal. Everyone can make, from adults to children, even a baby. And we also collected the portraits of the makers. This is not all of them, but some of the people who made their own discs. And these discs are incorporated in the cladding. So this is the technical drawing, showing how the discs are laid out, is kind of setting up. And the circular disc is quite efficient in terms of sort of surface cover. You can only small amount of overlap is required. Corner detail of the cladding. More detail. And underneath of this market cross, we also place this drinking water fountain. And it is made from cast terrazzo called Granby Rock. The Granby Rock is a product of Granby Workshop in Liverpool. This is another offshoot of Assemble. They set up this factory, the manufacturing, this kind of a bespoke handmade tiles and terrazzo pieces. They won this Turner Prize out of this project actually in 2015. So the existing concrete board, as you saw in the earlier picture, was gathered together and then stained in red and to form this sort of a continuous seating. And then this Granby rock were used as a kind of a wedge piece to connect them together. And also providing the surface, you can put your bags or flask or lunch or whatever between the seating. We also created this fixed market canopy structure. And it was inspired by this wooden colonnade as part of the Horyuji temple complex in Nara. This is another ancient temple in Japan. Using the traditional English, the British mortise and tenon green oak construction, but mixing with the sort of flavor of Japanese construction. So I wanted to give this a fine grain of rafters underneath of a canopy. All joints are mortise and tenon using these pegs. And built by the maker, William Floyd McLean and his team. They were also based in the sugar house. And then they moved out to much larger workshop in Somerset. And they prefabricate all the green oak frames off-site and brought to the site. And the construction was really quick, only 3 days or so. Another element, the oak benches dotted around in the area, in the marketplace, is also made by the makers in the sugar house. Joiner Eva Leslie. We also set up another workshop in the market, inviting people to decorate the little wooden dowel, which forms the sort of a capping for the screw holes. And benches are very popular. This is an earlier diagram trying to show the larger interventions, how the small interventions try to connect, reach out to the wider area. So this is the blue, the triangular bit. There's this whole underneath of the big Victorian railway arches. They are now occupied by many factories, like cheese factories, breweries, coffee bean roasting factories, producing really good quality food. It's a new thing that in London, this inner city food production is happening. This way is towards the London Bridge. The brew market wanted to connect to the existing food industry. So what we did is we closed this end of this street. This is called Brew Anchor Lane, behind the brew, and then made a crossing there so that people from the market and breweries can extend their journey to the brew, and also plant the trees along the route. Another thing we did was the knocking through the one of the vacant unit in the shop to make more permeable, more give the access from these areas. And that connects to this another knocking through the arches, which yet to happen, but hopefully will happen soon. As part of the larger regeneration development happening nearby, this is biscuit factory I showed you earlier. The whole site is now redeveloped into high-rise housing and the commercial unit. But that line extends straight to the Bermondsey tube station. So area becomes much more connected. So this is the knock-through of the one of the shop unit. We created this kind of a tunnel and a new street. So it makes the footfall to the market more permeable. This is nighttime view towards the knock-through, you can see. Small interventions like bronze plaques are located, replacing the existing concrete pavers. It tells a little bit more deeper into the local histories. That was also dotted around within the marketplace. And we created this kind of large murals, which is slightly away from the marketplace, but also acts as a wayfinding, so the arrow pointing down the blue that way. This was also part of the project that we organized the competition, the open call for artists and graphic designers to propose. This was done by Fraser Mugridge, who won the competition. And this is another one by artist Paul Butler, also depicting the local history on this large brick wall. You can actually see the Russell Dryden, the fishmonger, is here also depicted. We also helped improve 22 independent shop front on the high street with close collaboration with graphic designer Stinson Squeeze, who designed all their shop front and also the new identities with the new font. These red marked shops are all renewed. This is the plan of the market, close-up of the marketplace. So the clock tower, the market cross, stands in the middle of the marketplace and dividing into two zones. So all the trading is located close to the street where the market was once before. And then there was the idea that eventually the the number will grow and then will spill out to the market, to the street, and then street becomes a return to the market again. Then behind the clock tower, we created this kind of a flexible open space. We call it Village Green, and which was the multi-purpose open space for different uses, such as this kind of a performance event, or extending the market, or even sporting events like this. This was the crafts market day. So all the traders are spilled out to this open Village Green area. This is a recent event called Okinawa Day, which I invited the Japanese communities in London to hold this event in the Brew. The Okinawa is a southern part of the island who has a very distinctive music, performance, culture, and also food. So we used the Brew as a venue for the community to have this event. So there are many performances like this kind of karate, Ryukyu karate demonstrations, or this kind of dance performance. It's called ASA. It was actually a joint collaboration with London Okinawa Sanshinkai and Paris Okinawa Sanshinkai. They flew over not flew over, I think they came by train, to London, and then, we did this joint performance. So this is the last video. I'm just gonna show you of the Okinawa Day. So it was so successful that actually the Brew said, this is the best event ever. So seriously, so we are now talking. This will become an annual event. So hopefully we'll be coming back every year.
Okinawa Day. Remember this. Thank you to the band and everyone who's organising. Thank you. And thank you all for coming along, supporting the market, supporting the businesses and the community. Peace, love, not war. Thank you.
Thank you for listening.